What the
Sakujo.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, which makes me so sad. Ugh.
Because you didn't watch the sub. Because you didn't watch the sub. Because you didn't watch the sub.
Shonen Chumps.
What's up, people? That definitely was a Death Note reference and not me just being an asshole. Hi, welcome back to Shonen Chumps, the only anime podcast on the motherfucking internet that features the three of us.
And there's swearing on the show.
There's a lot of, you know.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Anyways, if you didn't know, we watch an anime every week-ish, and then we talk about it. This time we actually let you know which show we're watching so that you could watch along if you felt the need. If you like that, and if you want us to keep doing that, let us know, and we'll straight up tell you what we're watching so you can book club this shit with us. But yeah, this week we watched Death Note. Possibly one of the greatest animes ever made. By the way, as always, I'm Brennan.
I'm Sean.
I'm Dylan.
Let's talk some Death Note, boyos.
Yeah, so we did a top 5 list a couple weeks ago about our top 5 animes of all time. And I ranked Death Note as number 3.
Two. It was 2 for both of us because we tied, wasn't it?
No, you did 3. Brennan.
Oh, right. I did 2.
Yeah.
But yeah. We both picked it on our list.
Yeah. So clearly this is probably one of the best anime of all time. Possibly one of the best shows. I don't know. Let's decide.
Yeah, I feel like there are actually a lot of even Western shows that may or may not have pulled from Death Note to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Warning, if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, there might be some spoilers coming up. Anyways.
For what? Death Note or Breaking Bad?
for all around. Spoilers all around.
Death Note, Breaking Bad, any show with an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Okay, so
there's chances.
We all just watched the series, Death Note, the series.
Yeah,
right?
Yes. The original series that finished in 2007.
Yep. 37 episodes. This is my third time watching the series. I've seen both the dub and the sub. This time I watched the dub. Mm-hmm. What about you guys?
I've seen this show. I think this might be my 4th time through. I feel like I've only ever watched the sub just because I love the sub, and I think the dub does a really good job, but at the same time, it just feels a little off the mark for me when it comes to certain scenes and certain moments that are critical in this show. But Dylan, this was your first time, wasn't it?
It was.
How did you feel?
How did I feel?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think I could sum up one feeling with a show like this. I was impressed.
Nice.
I was happy. I was sad. My heart was racing at different points.
So this is your first time watching the show. So what did you know before you jumped into it?
Okay, so wait. First off, I'm going to say I watched the dub. And I wanted to watch the sub. But I also think, like, I enjoy subs. But I figured this show was going to mess me up. And I figured there was a greater chance of it, like, getting to me if it was in English.
Interesting.
Even though I imagine, like, this show is amazing. You called it magical when I asked you what you thought.
Oh my god, yeah.
In the sub. But I don't know. I just felt like I had to see it in English. And this time, at least. I don't know.
Like, that kind of breaks my heart, to be honest. I really wish your first time through was with the sub. I mean, as far as dubs go, I've come around to dubs a lot more of late. I really do think dubs are great when they're done great. And I think that the Death Note dub actually does a pretty decent job. But maybe it's just because this was such a seminal anime for me, and it was one of like my first important anime experiences that I wanted you to have the exact same experience watching the sub, because maybe certain things that happen in the dub wouldn't be as convincing. But as long as you walked away from the show feeling the way you did, I'm happy.
Well, that's the thing, because you guys also did say that the dub was good. Like, it was, it wasn't maybe as good, but the fact that it was good enough was like okay with me. Like, if you guys said the dub was okay, then I'd immediately go for the sub, because I couldn't do okay.
Right.
But the fact that I knew that it was good, and man, I thought it was really good. So
nice. That's good to hear.
So what I knew before the show is, I had some friends in high school who watched the show.
Okay.
And I wasn't really into anime by this time, and I was about 16. I guess some of my friends were watching the show.
Right.
And the only anime I truly loved at that point was Gundam Wing. Shout out to Gundam Wing.
Fair enough, yeah.
But I wasn't really interested in seeing any kind of new anime. I was like, whatever. And I believed it was good, but I did know that it's about some dude who finds a book and he can kill people with it, and he tries to kill... I don't even know if I knew he was trying to kill criminals. Like, I just knew he could kill with the book. Mm-hmm. And trouble ensues. That's all I knew.
Did you know that he had to write names down, or did you think he was like bludgeoning people with a book?
No, I knew
he could.
I knew he had to write their name down. I didn't know about all the rules. I didn't know there were about 600 rules.
It's like fucking Magic the Gathering, dude.
Yeah.
There's so many rules.
Yeah, dude.
Sean, do you remember your first experience with Death Note, or like your first exposure?
Honestly, it's been over a decade. So I probably watched the show just immediately as I heard about it. I probably didn't know anything before I jumped into it.
Right.
But I'll say after watching it for the third time now, it surprised me almost as much as it did when I first started watching it. There were like story revelations I'd completely forgotten about that surprised me all over again.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah, to a crazy extent. I feel like I have amnesia. Like, I totally forgot what happened the first time I watched it.
It's dense enough for that, right?
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like, there's so much that happened. Like, you're going to remember, like, the main arc and the major plot points, but there are just, like, these little nuances and little...
Dude, the devil is in the details. And it's like, I had that same experience watching it again. I mean, the last time I watched Death Note front to back was maybe a few years ago or something like that. It wasn't anytime soon, but even then, I still completely forgot, like you said, like a lot of characters even. I mean, not the big ones, but like ones that do play important roles in like the story. But
yeah, me too.
Watching it over again, I still had that tension the entire time because I forgot the results of some of these like tiny little interactions between characters, and how, like, again, the density of it, like the craziness of the plot and the back and forth of your expectations and what happens and the way people plot things, and it's like, oh fuck, how's this gonna turn out? That was still strong for me, and it was good.
That's like crazy too, because you think about like you guys knew where it was going,
right? Yeah,
and yet the ride was still that interesting.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like, that does say something about it. Actually, I just remembered one other thing that I wanted to say about the show that was part of what I knew about the show, is I knew it was really good because my friend, he lived, one of my friends from high school, he lives 3 doors down from me, right?
Yeah.
Not the anime kind of guy at all. The kind of guy who doesn't really watch that much TV, is outside like playing basketball and stuff like that.
Living
right?
a healthy, normal life.
Biking around, like that kind of stuff. But like he played video games and stuff, but that wasn't his forte, right?
Right.
So one time I go to hang out with him. I ring his doorbell, and he comes downstairs, and he says, "Okay, you're gonna have to wait a minute. I'm watching Death Note." And then he ran upstairs back to his room and like to finish like the last 10 minutes of a show.
Yeah.
And if an anime
watching the next episode.
Yeah. I'm saying if an anime could do it for that guy, I was like, okay, this show's probably like sick.
Like, listen, man, I know you wanted to play basketball, but you're gonna have to fucking go home. I'm watching anime today.
Yeah. So it was cool. Yeah. So that was kind of
I definitely had that experience when I was younger, being like on my fucking parents' desktop computer watching this shit in like 4 parts on YouTube, and my mom walks in, I'm like, no, not right now. You leave, this is really tense and I need to watch this with all of my attention.
Like, I just wanted to see if you wanted dinner.
Back in the crazy days of YouTube when anime was still on there before they took it all down.
Yeah, dude.
So it's fair to say that Brendan and I think this is one of the best shows or anime ever. Dylan, what do you think after having seen it? I know it made you feel happy and sad and all that shit.
Is this like in your top list?
What do you
Of
think?
best anime ever. So this is going, because like our classics list was not about what's the best anime we've seen. It's like what made us love anime.
Yeah, like what's the best to
certain
you
things.
kind of.
Yeah, I think it would have to make this list. I would probably put, oh man, it's in the like top 5.
Sure.
Which is
like
fair,
for best
yeah.
ever. I would say now my favorite is probably Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nice.
2 and 3 would probably either be Gundam Wing or Full Metal Alchemist.
So it's up there with the contenders, the big boys.
So probably 4 would be Death Note.
That's
nice.
good to hear.
So so you get that this shit's nothing to fuck with. Remember
dude,
what we said earlier about
crazy.
swearing?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like, I'm trying to tell people that don't watch anime to watch Death Note now. I told, like, 2 friends.
Yeah, and like I feel like part of that I noticed watching this time around is like in the strength of the opening episode. It's such like I forgot how quickly this show puts hooks into you and like how quickly it's paced, because some of the things that happened in the first episode, watching it over again, I was like, oh fuck, I thought this took like 3 episodes to do. It's like, damn, they're not wasting any time. It's like, here's the premise, get into it, dude.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting thing, because I actually question whether or not that was a good or bad thing to do with the show. This show is great, but there are some things I questioned or I thought about. And one of the things was, we don't really get to know Light at all before the Death Note, right?
Right.
He gets the book and he tests it out, and then the next scene, Ryuk appears to him. He's like, "Damn, dude, you wrote a lot of names." Like, he's like, a human has
really got
never
into
taken to the Death Note this fast.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm gonna become the god of this new world." Episode 1,
Episode
dude.
1. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
I have a note that I took down in the first episode saying that, in quotes, Light has already exhausted the list of the world's worst criminals. What? What
Yeah.
the fuck? In
That's
the first
pretty-
episode?
Pretty fucking fast.
How many hundreds of names did you write down in that one
yeah.
episode? Goes from killing one guy via accident on a motorcycle
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just demolishing everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
But also, I like that they, speaking of Light pre-Death Note, I like that they had that parallel shot in the beginning where it shows Ryuk in the Shinigami realm and Light in the normal world, and they're saying the same thing. They're like, this world is rotting, and they're talking about their individual worlds. And Ryuk is talking about how like all the death gods are really bored and they don't do their jobs properly anymore, and everyone's kind of jaded and they just like gamble and shit. And Light's just talking about how garbage our world is and how it's full of shitty people. And like the funny part is, this entire saga, this crazy story, is all the result of boredom on both sides. Ryuk is bored, so he's like, I'm gonna fucking chuck this book into the human world and just see what happens if you stir the pot a little bit. Just kick the hornet's nest a little bit, you know? Just see what happens. And Light's like, you know what? This is probably a prank. This is, quote unquote, worse than a chain letter, but I'm gonna write a name in this and see what happens. It's just idle curiosity leads to this fucking disaster piece of a story.
And
I
an
love
even bigger note in terms of Ryuk's boredom, it wasn't even his Death Note to give.
Right.
So like, because like if it was his Death Note, like when you think it is at the beginning, it says more about Ryuk because he's just like, I'm gonna like give away my Death Note. But he
Right.
stole someone else's. So then he's like, like screw it. Like there it goes. Right? Like
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It's also crazy, like for me, and I guess Sean, anyways. It's so weird to think about this show being 10 years old. It's like it aged pretty well because I feel all the same feelings watching it again now, even though I have seen it in between a couple times. It's retained that quality of like narrative worth where it's just like hooks. I gotcha.
yeah. And I mean, we mentioned the anti-hero before. That's something that's becoming more and more popular in television
Right.
like now, right? I'd say, I guess, like 5-ish years ago, it was like people were really down with anti-heroes, and like now we still see them.
Yeah.
And they tell such compelling stories. And Death Note came 10 years ago, and that's maybe part of the reason also why it feels so fresh.
Right.
Because he's like a true anti-hero, and it's so complicated and dense and not
It's like
You know?
there's a lot of gray area, which is interesting.
Yeah. A show that makes you think.
Speaking of Western television, let's just get into this now. Fucking Breaking Bad, dude. It's basically Death Note. When you think about it, there's like a lot of like major beats that are like parallel to Death Note.
Yeah, I called that pretty early as well.
Yeah, definitely. Although in the second episode of Breaking Bad, Walter White isn't ready to kill anybody that opposes him.
It's a
Yeah.
much slower uptick.
Yeah, in the second episode of Death Note, Light is already called Kira,
Right,
and he
yeah.
already tries to kill L on TV.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy about it, and that's one of the things I wondered about Death Note, because one of the things that's great about Breaking Bad is you see Walter's like slow descent.
Right.
He's a regular guy out of desperation, right?
Yeah.
He's he makes meth and then he does whatever he can.
And
the
you
first
see
time he
him-
kills, it's because that guy is trying to kill him.
Right.
His name's Domingo. He's like has him trapped by a bike lock. I don't know if you remember that in the house.
Right.
And he kills him because he has to, but Light just like takes to murder real fast.
Exactly. Let me ask you something, which is a pretty big question to ask right off the bat, I guess. But did you agree with Light?
Obviously, he's coming from like a reasonable place.
Yeah.
Like, not that I would necessarily do the same thing, but like he has reasoning behind what he's doing, and he defends it pretty well. And speaking by the fact that halfway through the series, or more than halfway, many nations on Earth support him,
right.
probably means that he's not doing like the world's most terrible thing.
Yeah.
Although that's out of fear too, right?
Yeah, a little bit out of fear.
Because it's
Or-
kind of
yeah.
like Hitler taking over like a bunch of Europe, and then like Austria and Czech being like, all right, come on in.
Right.
But it's interesting because, like, looking at it now as an adult, I feel like when I was younger, I probably agreed more with like Light's side of things, where he's sort of like, oh, there's evil people in the world, and the world needs to be cleaned of evil people, and I'll do it even though it's a bad thing to do. And I realized that, like, oh, like some other characters actually mentioned this. Elle mentions this especially, that it's kind of a very juvenile way of thinking, like a very childish, almost narcissistic way of thinking, because he assumes himself to be the god of the new world, and it's like, oh, this is up to me, this is my task, I'm gonna be God now. And like, it takes a very sort of, I mean, as smart as Light is and as capable as he is, it is like a pretty narrow-sighted view of things. It's kind of, he's almost got tunnel vision in this way, where it's like, oh, like, I can fix everything, everything revolves around me now. And like, that's a very sort of childish way of thinking. And I feel like I might have related to that more, like having the brain of a child at that point. But now looking at it, like from the first episode, I sympathize with him way less now as an adult, because I was just like, he's a narcissist. He's a textbook narcissist. And he thinks that he is justice incarnate just because he's given the power to do this, and he happens to be, top of his class, whatever. He might be naturally gifted and talented and able, but as soon as he meets Elle, who is like equally smart, if not smarter, actually definitely smarter, and I'll get to that later. But once he meets Elle, it's like the level of how reasonable you thought he was, it spikes into insanity, where it's like, oh, it turns out he's crazy. And as soon as someone challenges him, who's a legitimate challenge to him, you can see his like inner crazy child come out, and he stops being a reasonable, smart adult, quote unquote.
Well, right.
Yeah.
I think you can really dig deep into Light's character just by like analyzing where he comes from. Like, he's a straight A student who's part of like every club, who does everything right and is popular.
Yeah.
Everything's come easy to him.
Popular because
the
he's
coolest guy.
handsome.
Right, yeah, sure. But he's probably like grown up seeing his dad be the opposite of what he is, being this guy who works with the police and is the main police dude, but struggles with like every case and doesn't catch the people that he needs to catch, and like works too hard, stays like too late at work.
Right.
And Light just like looks at himself like, I've achieved everything so perfectly. How come my dad is working his ass off and not even accomplishing the job that he's out there to accomplish? And then once he gets the ability to take it one step further than his dad, he's like, I'll just take this with the same ease that I've gotten straight A's the rest of my life. I'll just axe everybody on Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, well, not only that you asked the question, like, did you agree with Light? But I think the bigger question is, did you sympathize with Light,
Yeah.
right? Because like there are times where you're like rooting for him, kinda.
Yeah, which
but
is
like
so
also
cool.
you want to see him fail, like I did. But I'm impressed when he gets out of like his situations.
Yeah.
But you know, from the beginning of the show, I think I would have sympathized more with Light. I think I would have seen his perspective more if he wasn't so twisted right off the bat. Like, we root for Walter because he's like, it's out of circumstances that he slowly gets more and more, like, he descends
Evil,
further and further, right?
See that.
But Light's just there at the beginning. And so it was harder to really be like, I love Light.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like anyone who gets in his way, he will kill. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. If you're investigating him, like, he will kill you, right? So for the whole show, I understood the agreement, but I didn't like agree with Light at all. But it's funny, toward the end of the show, you know, like last week we had that like that white supremacist march.
Oh yeah.
And like that like dude who drove a car and like killed that woman, and like there's like that terrorist attack in Barcelona, and that happened like while I'm watching Death Note, and then I'm just like
horrible shit's happening
for a
in the
minute.
world.
I just like, I get it. It's not the right way, but I get why someone would want that.
Yeah,
Right.
just
And it's not
erase
like-
all
but
the
it-
scum from the earth.
Yeah, it just because they were like literally happening simultaneously, like, you know, watch an episode of Death Note, and then I heard like news
horrible
like
shit
that
happening,
or
yeah.
like I read an article about it, and then you're just like, oh yeah.
The world is fucked.
Yeah. And like, you know, you always know that, but it's just like it was really weird experiencing that at the same time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of, I guess I got it, but just like Light, like you said, just being like, I'm the god, like I'm gonna be the god, like you're just
Right,
like, all right,
yeah.
like relax.
I thought, even though this is my third time watching the show, I felt that they did a really good job making me sympathize with Light in the
Yeah.
first two episodes, even though he jumped really fast to proclaiming that he was a god.
Right.
I've met a lot of people, I don't want to turn this into a Breaking Bad discussion, but they really don't like the first or second season of Breaking Bad because it's really slow moving and they don't like that slow descent into evilness, which I totally understand. I don't really feel the same way, but I understand. This is like, it hooks you real fast
Exactly,
into
yeah.
believing Light and like believing how he wants to like change the world.
Also, they give you like really key examples when they just show you examples of people being shitty in the show that
Yeah.
Light wants to erase. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Fuck that guy.
That's true, yeah.
And I think the show takes a moment later on to make you sympathize with Light by when he gives up his ownership of the Death Note and he
Right.
forgets all about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get to see innocent Light again with his innocent, like,
Big eyes.
Yeah, not so pointy and angular and sinister looking.
Yeah.
You get to see him react to the actions of Kira, saying, I don't think I'd kill people if I had the Death Note. What kind of person would do that?
Right.
But so he doesn't believe that he would do it. It's almost like to bring this back to like episode 1 of Death Note or episode 0.
Yeah.
If Light's dad was at the police station, you know, like working another hard case, not catching the guy he was running after that afternoon, and the Death Note drops in front of him, would he have used it to like kill people even if nobody was like because there wasn't the stigma around it of the news of L telling him that it's a bad thing?
Right.
Maybe he just would have taken the easy way out, use the note.
That's true.
Who's to say?
That's a really interesting thought, but like I couldn't help but think it felt like a bit of an inconsistency when I watched it at the time. The way Light was like innocent, he's like, Kira like has similar ways of thinking to me. Could I be capable of this?
do this?
And like it felt a little inconsistent because right off the bat, Light just like takes to the Death Note. And
Right.
that's what kind of bugged me because it
Yeah,
felt like if
you're
this is
right.
what Light was like without the Death Note, he should have been a little bit more apprehensive to use the Death Note. Or like that felt like an inconsistency to me. I see what you're saying though.
Yeah.
That's a very good argument to kind of legitimize how Light acts later on because he's aware of like this whole stigma around Kira. But
Right.
I don't know, like that bugged me a little bit. I was like, you're not the same Light.
I think that reaction might have been it might have been a result of Al suspecting Light in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like when innocent Light is suspected of being Kira and doing something atrocious, he is obviously appalled by it. And if he's appalled by it, he's less likely to adopt the mindset of his, I don't know, his neutral self, where he's thinking like, oh, if I wasn't in this situation, was handed a Death Note, how would I react? And then like when he does eventually think about it, he's like, oh, maybe I would do this. Oh, maybe I am Kira. And he is Kira. So it's like,
Right.
you know, it kind of made a little more sense.
Yeah.
I think I kind of want to move on and ask you guys. So this show was directed by the same dude who directed High School of the Dead, which I know you guys haven't seen.
Yeah.
But most importantly, Attack on Titan.
Right.
Did you guys see any similarities between the way this is directed and Attack on Titan is directed?
For me, they're like almost completely different animals. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I have such pre-made conceptions of this show and how I feel about this show and how this show like makes me feel and how I watch this show compared to Attack on Titan that I can't really put them side by side and see a lot of similarities. But like, I mean, enlighten me. What am I missing out on?
Well, Dylan, did you see anything?
I don't know. Just like I thought Attack on Titan had so many problems with it. Right?
And Death Note's just so flawless? Or
It's pretty like it's
Pretty
close,
fucking
right?
close,
I mean, like
yeah.
I'm raising like what I thought about it, like these like things that felt inconsistent or felt wrong to me. But you know, like as a whole, right? Like I think Death Note's like a masterpiece, and Attack on Titan isn't.
Sure.
So I don't know. It does feel totally different to me. Like Death Note hooks you instantly. Attack on Titan didn't hook me instantly. I'm still not necessarily hooked on Attack on Titan.
Sure. I get that.
So tell me about
something,
it. What do you think?
No, just like not maybe direct correlations between the show, but the director's really good at showing like inner monologues. So in Attack on Titan, they'll be swinging through the air, and like maybe a 30-second swing will take 5 minutes in the show because you'll be inside Eren Yeager's head and he's analyzing everything, thinking about how his mom died and all this bullshit.
There's a lot of moments where you're waiting for seconds to pass, but it is longer.
Whereas in Death Note, you're literally waiting for 40 seconds to pass, but it's a 3-minute scene.
Right, yeah.
And you get a lot of like the internal monologue. Sometimes you're just like staring at a shot of Light's eye for minutes on end, just hearing what he has to say inside of his head.
Yeah, definitely.
There's stuff like that. There's the action lines running up and down the screen whenever somebody sometimes
get upset
when they
and
freak
start
out.
yelling and shit.
Yeah, and one of the most blatant things I realized from the show is that this director really likes to use his commercial breaks to explain to you the rules of his universe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And particularly in Death Note's case, the rules that are showed in the commercial breaks are so horribly written into English.
Yeah.
They are the worst translations
really
I've seen.
You know what's
so hard to grasp because they're so badly written.
What's funny is that, I mean, I guess those are like as poorly written as they are. Those are the canonical rules because the Death Note that I went to fucking Anime North in 2008 to buy has those rules in it word for word.
No, yeah, they
with
are.
all the spelling errors and missing letters and shit like that.
Yeah, I guess like I can give them a lore break because it was Ryuk who wrote them, and he's not a native English speaker. I'm guessing.
I guess
he's not from Earth. So,
yeah. But he did say he picked the world's most popular language to write the rules in.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, he could have put a little fucking effort into it.
Yeah. And then he willy-nilly threw the Death Note down onto the globe that is Earth.
Yeah.
It's like you're telling me it landed on that small island
going to
Japan and not in the water?
Right. Yeah.
How many times did he throw it down?
Yeah.
Falls in the water, picks it back up.
Does a dive.
Flies into space. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're back, Ryuk. It's like, no, I just missed.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have aimed for the center of Asia, I guess. Like, this should have taken place in Kazakhstan.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
All right, so let's talk about some of the other big characters, I guess. Maybe the other big character in this, L.
Matsuda.
Yo, Matsuda's fucking awesome.
Wait,
he's pretty important.
Right before we move on to L, what did you guys think of the name Kira?
Oh, I thought it was kind of dumb.
Kira.
I didn't really think it was anything special. It's just like, Janglish, Killer, Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
That's
fine.
it? Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was whatever. I didn't think twice about it. I was
mean,
cool with it.
Yeah.
It made sense, though. It's like, oh, the killer needs an alias. They're not just going to call him God of the New World, right?
Just call him Evangelion.
Gospel
for the new age.
for the new century. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Did you feel any kind of way about
No. I was
Kira?
just asking. Yeah, I feel like when I was younger and I watched the show first, I thought about it for a long time. It felt odd to me, but no. Yeah, it's just Kira.
Also, before we move on, before I forget, another like weirdly referential thing that kind of clicked while I was watching this was it kind of made me think a bit of Persona 5, which is a game I'm currently playing and that Sean has beat already.
Yeah.
Where you do play as vigilantes. trying to cause change in the world.
Yes.
And this thought occurred to me when like Kira's fan site appeared, and it's like, oh, this mysterious force is at work in the world making things slightly better, and then a quote unquote like a fan site pops up, and I was like, oh, the fan site? That's a literal thing from Persona 5.
Right,
I was
yeah,
like,
because in Persona 5, if anybody's listening and doesn't know,
Yeah.
the characters are trying to provide change, like change people who act bad in society.
Without killing them, mind you.
Yeah, without killing them, and there's a fan site that crops up for them, and they have like a percentage meter out of 100 if people approve of them or not in society.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So-
what Brennan's bringing up.
Yeah, right. So that kind of made me think of that, and I was like, oh, this does influence a lot of shit.
Right, yeah. I didn't think about that. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
All right, so L.
Oh wait, one other thing. I have to say. This is really quick.
The L discussion isn't coming.
This is really quick. I want to say another character that Light reminded me of was Lelouch Lamperousse from
Yeah.
Code Geass. Idealistic genius, willing to do anything to get his way, suffers from hubris.
Yeah, so Code Geass, as whether you love it or you hate it, it is a Death Note clone with mecha crammed onto it and into it.
Yeah,
And tacked onto
definitely.
it.
Like,
Wrapped
they're
around it.
Almost the same character.
It's, yeah, definitely. 100%. Doesn't make Code Geass a great show, necessarily, because it draws so heavily from Death Note, but it's almost like fan fiction. When I watched Code Geass for the first time, I was like, you know what? I did think about if Light had a fucking Gundam. Like, what would he do? So yeah.
Okay. Anyways. L.
L.
L, also known as Hideki Ryuga.
Ryuga. Yeah.
Ryuzaki.
Ryuzaki. So L is my favorite character in Death Note.
Of course.
Yeah, great guy. Smart guy.
Nothing-
Lonely man.
Lonely man.
Huh.
I should let you know
Yes.
that as 10 years ago, as a 13 or 14-year-old, I did try to model my entire existence around L. I did grow my hair out. I sat weird. I ate an unnecessary amount of sweets.
I'm sitting weird right now. Yeah.
Nice.
Tried
Nice
not
cosplay.
Tried not to. Yeah, yeah. My life as a 13-year-old was an L cosplay, so I did appreciate that
you-
character a lot.
How
Did
do
you
you hold
solve
your
a murder?
Yeah.
I mean, I tried.
Did you hold your phone weird?
I did,
you have a
actually.
flip phone?
I did.
Oh,
I had a Motorola
yes.
Razr, and I answered it like a fucking
perfect.
idiot.
Dude, I even held my razor like that sometimes just to feel like L.
Yeah.
Bring back flip phone so I can do it.
Damn it, flip phones 2018. Let's make it a thing. Make it a petition.
Wait.
Dude, yeah, they find a way to make such not boring, but like boring talking scenes interesting just because L is fumbling
Oh.
with his cake.
He's
or,
so
like piling
quirky.
his candies
He's so
on top of each
interesting,
other.
yeah. Or like filling his coffee cup with so many sugar cubes that it's just a cup of sugar.
Yeah. Or like the way you're introduced to L in the story, well, kind of, but not really. The way Light is introduced to him
Whoa.
is during an exam where L is just sitting in his chair like a fucking weirdo with everybody else sitting normally
Wait.
doing their exam.
Hold on. Before we get to that, because that's important, the Lind L. Taylor incident, that's
Yeah.
like the first interaction
Genius.
between Light and L.
Right.
And it's also the first time that fucking DJ Khaled in my head just went, you played yourself! Because fucking, that's exactly what goddamn Light did, is he played himself.
You played yourself.
He did play himself.
And that's just one of those fucking moments where the show pulls the rug out from under you, where you think Light is killing it and he's a genius, and it's like, oh, he did kill that guy. He's an
Yeah.
idiot for showing his face on TV. Light has the upper hand. But no, it was all just like testing the water to eliminate certain variables that narrows down who and what Light is. And it's like, oh my god. L, man.
Yeah, Light plays himself in two distinct ways in the beginning of the series. First, he kills what the fuck is his name? Lind L.
Lind
Taylor.
L. Taylor.
Yeah. Lil
Jesus.
Taylor.
Lil Taylor.
Lil Taylor.
So he kills that dude, giving away his position in Japan. Mm-hmm. And then he kills Ray Penber.
Ray Penbar.
Yeah.
The dude following him around from the FBI.
Yeah, which gives away his position as to who Light knows in the police.
Oh my god, yeah. It narrows it down so much.
After that, though, he does get away. Light, like, essentially gets away.
By the
but
fucking hairs on his ass, which is
but-
insane.
the thing that fucks him up is Misa. Misa giving away everything to the news stations through her fucking videos and bullshit.
Yeah, that is like the inciting fuck up.
When I was watching that,
Yeah.
okay, guys, Dylan, I don't know if you'll be able to believe this, but when I was watching this series again for the third time, I forgot that Misa was the one who sent those tapes. So I was just like, Light is such a fucking idiot.
Why would you do this?
What? He was totally in the clear and he's fucking himself over now.
Oh my god.
Then I realized that it's Misa. And who could ever hate
Misa.
Well, it's funny because Misa does screw up a bunch for Light, and the first time she shows up at his house.
Yeah.
And that's before he's met her. And then, they go over a plan. Like, she's like, oh, you can just use me. And he's like, all right, sick. Right? And then, like, the episode after that, she shows up at his house again. And then Light's like,
I know what you're gonna
this is
say.
the first time in my life I've even been provoked to hit a girl.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Yeah,
But that's when
that
she
was
jumps on him.
intense.
Yeah.
And then Mogi's in the background watching. He's like, this is interesting. Who is this girl meeting with Light all of a sudden when there's a second Kira involved?
Yeah,
And,
God. And she just wants to be used by Light. Or she says it's fine if you use
It's
me.
so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I kind of get it, because it's like, okay, he
Tell me more.
use and abuse me as you will. No, it's like, because he avenged her parents, which is like something that she could have only dreamed of,
Right.
because the dude was gonna get off. I mean,
Brennan,
be
who's
freed.
using you? Tell us more.
No, it's like she had motivation is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I don't think I paid as much attention to that in the past, and I was like, oh, this is a gross character.
Right. Does it ever explain why Misa got the eyes? Did she get the Shinigami eyes to find a Light?
No,
Or
I think she
well,
just made
just
the decision.
wanted-
Yeah.
yeah,
she
just
She
wanted-
was just down.
which is weird because it's like I feel like someone who would be approached by like a god of death, Rem, being like, oh, there's this other god of death who literally saved your life. You were gonna die that day, but now you have a lot more time to live because now who knows when the fuck you'll die.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, oh, that sounds good. Half my life, please. Give me your eyes.
I'm pretty sure she got the Shinigami eyes before she
found that out.
Yeah, before she found that out. Yeah, because she already has the eyes after we meet her.
Yep. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Wait, what?
She doesn't realize that she was saved by a death god called Jealous.
Oh,
until
you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
She
you're
already
right.
has the Shinigami eyes.
Right. Because Rem explains that to her when we see her.
Yeah.
for
Right.
the
And I
first
really
time.
want to bring up during that conversation in that room when Rem explains that to her.
Yeah.
Misa just says like, "How did Ryuk bring the Death Note back to Earth?" And I'm just thinking like, how does she know who Ryuk is?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing? How did she
Oh
find
my
his name?
God.
Unless
I
like
didn't
Rem
catch that.
told her the name of the Death God
She
without
does say
saying
that.
who
She
he brought
must.
the Death Note to. Yeah,
She must.
But
I
that's
mean-
like a little plot holy.
Yeah.
Also, the death god that drops the note is jealous. It's not even Ryuk.
What?
What? What do you mean?
Like like the death god's name, whose death note.
Oh, who
Ends
saves
up-
Misa?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
his
not what I'm
name
talking
is-
about.
oh.
Misa knows that Ryuk brought another Death Note to Kira, but
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah,
make
yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
Also, something else that kind of does make sense is that the episode when Kira or Light realizes that Misa exists or somebody exists that's posing as a new Kira, he's like, I wonder who this could be. It could be anybody in the city or in Japan. And then they end up in a cafe together or in a diner sitting at different tables.
That's the end of the episode.
But for some reason, in that diner, Misa doesn't see Light and see that he doesn't have a name on top of his head.
Or like a lifespan, you mean?
Or like a lifespan,
Oh,
yeah.
she doesn't look at him.
Yeah.
Which is
I
so
mean,
dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
but also Light does introduce that cafe to Al, being like, this is somewhere where people can't really see or hear you well, so it's a good place to have meetings.
Oh, true.
So
That's a good point.
I mean,
And then they never go back there.
Yeah,
Also-
very interesting.
Wait, so-
they never
so-
go back.
back to Al.
Yes.
Also, can we talk about the moment that you brought up earlier where we see L's fucking gigantic brass balls where he just decides to show up beside Kira or Light and just be like, hey, I'm L, and then see how he reacts. And that
Genius.
whole thing is like a measure, and then Light realizes that and he's like, oh my god, he's trying to see how I react, because how I react is gonna base all these assumptions he's gonna make. Like, how fucked was that moment?
I want to believe that all of Light's inner monologues are in real time.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting there really
For like
quietly.
20 seconds staring at nothing. He turns to him. Oh.
The first time I saw the anime, that was like flabbergasting. I thought it was amazing.
I forgot that even happened. That's how he introduced himself.
I wanted to tell you, I'm L.
It's also
he whispers it.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to.
Right.
It's really funny that they're both like the top scorers or whatever on the entrance exam. So they're both doing like their university like beginning of the year speech or whatever, and then he's just dressed in like a shabby long sleeve and no shoes and just like holding up the paper with like his hands in a weird way, and he's just like reading it like super dead. And then Light's in his fucking suit and he's just like, what the fuck is this shit? What is going on? Who is this guy?
Yeah, the contrast between them is intense.
Fucking great. Also, tennis.
The tennis was genius. I actually wrote that. It was genius.
The literal tennis match between them going on aside from their figurative tennis match.
Yeah, and they're still having a monologue the entire time. It's like, Kira hates to lose, but also so do most people.
Yeah.
It's
So really, I can discern nothing from this match. Because...
And then Light wins, and it's like, I see you went in for the win.
Just like Kiro.
Oh man, some crazy shit does go down on campus though. Just like when he arrests or L arrests Misa after she pops up on campus for the first time and harasses Light.
Yeah, because Misa gets the chance to see L's real name, but she doesn't have the chance to tell anybody about it.
She actually doesn't even know that
she doesn't know it's L, so she doesn't get to write his name down either, and then she's immediately arrested and detained for 50 days.
Yeah. And L touches her butt and steals her phone.
Yeah, that was sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and then Light calls him. Yo, okay, the fucking coyness of L when he's dealing with Light in situations like that, where he's like, oh, you thought you made a move, but actually, I gotcha.
Yeah.
You fucking slipped. Caught you slipping.
Can you tell me, Light? Has there
yourself.
ever been a time in your entire life you've told the truth?
Oh my god, dude, that scene was so powerful. But you know what's funny is because, like, you as the viewer, or I mean, like, maybe not if you haven't seen the series before, but like I was like, oh, this is close to the episode, or it might be the episode where Al dies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, this is so sad. It's like Al's giving up almost, but really it's the other way around, because at that point in time, Al was like thinking about the 13-day rule, which cleared Misa and Light, which was the only thing that stood out to clear them. Otherwise they'd be super guilty. And he was like about to implement a test on the 13-day thing with like a prisoner who was going to die pretty soon. So that prisoner would try it out. And if it worked or it didn't work, would show whether Light was guilty or not. So when he was saying, Light, have you ever told the truth in your life? And when he gives him that fucking awkward foot massage, I forgot that even happened.
Yeah.
Dude, I have stuff to say about that.
He dries him off and they have this little scene. I'm kind of sad. I was kind of sad because I was like, oh no, L's admitting defeat. But actually, he was just like, I fucking got you, asshole. But what do you know?
I don't know.
The whole vibe of that episode was off from the very beginning.
Yeah. I think that L knew
that he was going to die.
Because he says, at the very least, it was very likely. He's like, I think L, regardless, he has to proceed with his investigation, and he has to do what he should be doing to prove that Light is Kira.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he knows, well, Light's going to make a move, and so I might just have to accept this.
Yeah.
Right?
He says, like, during that foot massage scene, he's like, something along the lines of, we're going to be going our separate ways soon.
Wait, I've got it written down.
Oh, nice.
In both English in the sub and the dub, what was on my screen.
Yeah.
So in Japanese, it was, the translation was, it's sad. And then Light says, what? And he says, we'll soon part ways.
Yeah.
But I prefer the dub, actually. So L says, it'll be lonely, won't it? And Light says, huh? And then he says, you and I will be parting ways soon. I liked that more.
It alludes to it even more. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I know you're about to kill me. It's gonna suck. Won't it?
See, that was my original assumption, but like in hindsight, at that moment, L was about to pull the move that would have sunk Kira. But here's the thing: he probably was accounting for the fact that Light had something up his sleeve that he wouldn't be able to account for. Here's why. Okay, this ties into why L is definitively more intelligent than light, because every single time they have an exchange, L always fucking outmaneuvers L. Or, sorry, L always outmaneuvers light. And it's because L has, like, an unshakable grip on the logic of the way the world works. Like, his deduction skills are so, like, super impressive because he understands every way something can work in the natural world, where it's like action and reaction, cause and effect. He's able to link those things together flawlessly. But the element that throws him off is the supernatural part. As soon as
100%
light
agree.
brings in fucking Grim Reapers and Death Gods and magic notebooks into the equation, L still does a fucking great job of putting the pieces together and figuring out things that, like, a normal person wouldn't have put together. But
I love the moment when the supernatural comes into play.
like, yeah,
When they get the tape from Misa on the news and she says, meet. She's like, I'm guessing you don't have the eyes. We
Right.
should meet and show our Shinigami to each other. And L just throws his hands up into the air and falls out of his seat.
is that the same in the sub and the dub where he screams the same way?
Yeah, probably.
It's so
Yeah.
stupid. It's the funniest thing. He just falls over and he goes, "Do I have to accept that something like this exists?"
Well, yeah, and like that's the thing. Like under regular circumstances, L would have triumphed.
Well, he did.
Yeah, well, think about it this way.
Yeah, but
Think about it this way. L is a proven genius because he can... it doesn't matter that he only suspects light 5% or less.
Right.
The fact that he distilled it down to light out of everybody in Japan
is
amazing.
insane.
Right.
Whereas light never would have found out who L was
If it wasn't for
if
magic.
L didn't show up to school. He never would have
Right.
ever found
Yeah,
out
yeah,
who L
yeah.
was. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's, he says, there's a 5% chance, and later he ups it to 7%.
Yeah.
That's logic talking, and yet I believe L knows the whole time, but he can't prove it. Like,
Right, yeah,
it's like
yeah.
there's a 5% chance that he's Kira, but I know he's Kira.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Like, he knows that 5% is
Yeah.
right, but he has to build the case.
Something that
right?
really upset me is that when L dies,
Yeah.
he dies like in the arms of light,
Yeah.
right?
Which is
Because light catches him in his
awful.
chair.
Oh.
But the thing is, like, you see light smiling, like, I got you, you bitch.
Yeah.
It really saddened me that we didn't get to see L smile.
Right.
To just
yeah. To be
because
like,
he's looking
to
into the
know-
eyes of light, knowing that he died right. Like,
yeah,
he
yeah,
knew
yeah.
that
It's like,
he
gotcha.
was right.
Yeah.
He knew that he found out who Kira was from like day 2.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that massage scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people have said this over and over again. I'm not sure if you guys know, but that's like a pretty blatant biblical reference.
Oh, no, I missed that. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a
I'm
lot
saying
of
people
God
have,
imagery
yeah, but
in
people have
biblical
probably
stuff.
talked about this. So in Christianity, the night that Jesus was to be betrayed and taken and then subsequently crucified.
Yeah.
Before dinner, he washed all of his disciples' feet.
Oh,
And one of the
shit.
people he would have washed the feet of was Judas,
Judas.
the person who turned him in. So that's very, like,
Interesting.
L being so insistent of doing that is
Yeah.
to me also him saying, like, I'm gonna die. Like,
Right,
this is
right.
my end, and I'm having this moment. And that's when, while he's massaging his foot, is when he says it'll be lonely, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck, I didn't even realize that. But I mean, I guess it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and I think, that the meaning, it'll be lonely, won't it? That applies to both of them, really.
Yeah. Right, because when Light gets his way,
Yeah.
and then he starts taking
He's like-
shit over, he's like, it's no fun without L.
It's no fun without L.
Yeah.
And I imagine, like, L has never faced a case like this.
Right.
So even putting Light away, I'm sure it'll be satisfying, but in a way, I think nothing would compare to that
Right.
that case again. And, L says, "Oh, like, I think I've found a friend in you." And
yeah.
I think he knows that he's Kira, and yet he still says, like I think he meant it.
Yeah.
Right? Despite the fact that he knows he's Kira. Like,
It's
he's
'cause-
like, we're friends.
It's
because he's a worthy adversary.
L's an orphan. He's been alone his whole life, and he's stuck on this earth with a bunch of plebs.
Right.
He finally finds somebody on his level.
Yeah.
And they kill him.
Yeah. Worse luck.
Did you see it coming, by the way, L's death? Because this was your first time. How did you feel about that?
No. I thought he might die.
Yeah.
My note was, whoa, I didn't expect L to end up dying, at least not with 12 episodes left.
Right.
And then I said, I wonder if the show will end with Light's dad figuring it out and him killing Light and himself. I want to discuss that because I think that could have been a sick ending.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, sorry, can you repeat that?
If I said, I just want to make predictions as I went through, so I said, I wonder if this show will end with Light's dad figuring it out and him killing Light and then killing himself. Right. I think that could have been a really great ending if they didn't go the route of Nier and Mello.
Right.
Just saying, that could have been sick.
But it kind of would have sucked because they already played that out a little bit with the scene in the car.
I know. And I wrote that because I had already seen that scene. Like, it would have been interesting. It wouldn't have been the same way, like, in the car, but I imagine, like, that could have been, like, a really, like, beautiful mirror, like, him finding out, and then his father so distraught, like, having to take the shot, and then having to be like, I just killed my son. Boom. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Also, how did you feel about that, like, that 5-episode or maybe longer or shorter arc where, like, you don't really know what Light's up to because he's putting this plan in motion where he wipes his memory and Misa's memory to get out of the jail cell? How did you feel about that? Because watching that again, I was like, I don't really remember how this played out. But by the time it did play out, I was like, fuck, this is crazy.
It was super cool to be in the dark.
Yeah.
Like, it was great. But the 5 episodes, it was getting so long that I was like, is this still part of his plan?
Yeah.
Like, I started to wonder.
Is he just going to be
like,
wide-eyed Light forever?
I was like, is this part of his plan? Like, and I wish I didn't know how long the show was, like 37. Like, I wish there was a system where I could watch an episode and then check a box and then another one, like, appears in a Dropbox for me. So I don't actually know when it ends. That would be an amazing system.
Yeah.
Because then it would keep me guessing about what's going to happen. Because I knew how long it was, I could kind of deduce, like, where the show would go. So I considered...
Look at you, Mr. Detective.
No, like, I was considering the possibility, because it had been so long that Light hadn't become, like, Kira again. I considered, like, what if Light finds out he's Kira and that drives him insane, or he, like, kills himself because he's like... Because we see this character he's becoming, he's like, am I capable of this?
Yeah.
So I was wondering would he be disgusted that he was capable of it if he found out about it.
Right,
but for that reason, the show would have to be a lot shorter. The show would have to go to episode 25 or something. But because I knew how much was left, I figured he's got to regain what he lost, like his memories, and then this, dance will continue between him and Elle.
The show really does take a lull when they move into the, like, building complex where it's just them all in, like, a skyscraper. It gets a little slow
because they're chasing Higuchi at that point.
They're chasing fucking loser guy,
the guy from the Yoshida group,
dummy guy.
Kira.
Actually, one other thing that I wanted to say about the relationship between Elle and Light is, to make another reference, it reminded me a lot of the relationship between Professor X and Magneto in X-Men.
Interesting.
If you look at, well, even like the newer movies, but if you look at the earlier movies from the early 2000s, there's like this respect between them and them understanding each other's perspective, but not being able to go along with it. Right? And even when... I can't remember which movie. I guess it would be the end of the first one. Or I don't know. But when Magneto is in prison, Charles Xavier still goes to the prison to play chess with him.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this whole show felt like I was watching a really good chess match.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So, I see that connection too.
Or tennis match.
Speaking of chess moves, what did you think of... that whole sequence at the beginning where Light's being monitored and he's still kind of making moves in secret, and he opens a potato chip bag and eats it.
that was like
the most famous line from the show.
Yeah.
God, I've got to have a quote somewhere.
I'll take a potato chip.
No, don't ruin it yet. Don't ruin it. Oh God, yeah, I didn't have a whole quote, but it's something like, I'll make him think that I'm just doing homework with one. I'll solve math equations with my
one hand.
right hand and keep taking lies with my left. I'll take a potato chip and
Eat it! It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And delete.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those are the two things that made mundane things seem amazing.
Dylan, this goes back to the word that Brennan and I were saying before we started recording the podcast. We kept saying,
Sakujo!
and that has been stuck in my head for a decade now.
Right, yeah.
Because hearing that over and over again in Japanese was something else.
It was beautiful. Also, it's like the apex of all of the writing montages. No one writes a name down like Mikami Teru.
Yeah, wait, is he just writing a line?
He's just
like,
going whoosh. Yeah, I want to know what that guy's signature looks like.
You know, it's like when you go and see a band, right? And the guitarist is jumping all over the place, the drummer's like wailing on the drums, the lead singer's jumping all around, and you're like, this is sick. And then the keyboard player is just pushing their keys as hard as they can. Like that's what I felt when I was watching Mikami write. He's like, he's just trying his
He's
best
just giving it.
He's just out of it.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
the one thing I will say about the sub is that there's probably no word in English they could have chosen that has the sinisterness and effect
God.
of Sakujo. Just over and over again.
It's
got the perfect amount of crazy.
weight.
Yeah.
It's got weight.
Yeah.
It feels like someone's swinging a bat every single time.
Yeah,
man-
delete's like fine.
Delete's okay. I think it has like a different connotation to it. Well, because it doesn't sound as powerful, but it almost just sounds like almost like work that just has to be done. Like, oh, I'm editing this document, delete. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's just like dirty work that just like let me just get rid of just get rid of these people. Delete.
Which makes sense for the position that he's in. In all my notes, I call him Bitch Kira. He's the bitch of Kira.
Yeah.
God.
Kami? Yeah.
God, is that you?
It's pretty funny how he... Oh my God. Also speaking about Teru being fucking dramatic, at the very end where he's writing down everybody's names and he just fucking falls back on his knees and flips over backwards
gross.
and just stares at the sky. He's like...
And you can see like the
climax. He just climaxed.
Yeah, you can see the spit in between his teeth.
Right. There's a full load in that man's pants.
But then slightly after that... oh, God. Slightly after that, though, when he enters that little warehouse and he stabs himself and starts
with a pen,
gushing
just
blood.
sprays like fucking Kill Bill.
Like an unrealistic amount of blood.
So
or he
good.
hit like the most dopest artery in the entire body.
The dankest artery he could find.
It's like he got bit in half by a titan.
Aaron's mom. Just the fucking shower. The opening credits. Oh man.
Jesus,
Guess the
that's
director
great.
has a thing for blood showers, huh?
Oh, definitely. And like the color of his blood looked like crimson red, not even black or
it's
red,
like
dark
super
red.
duper bright.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of like the writing montages, did you enjoy the music in this show, guys?
Yeah, dude.
Oh man,
Choirs?
there's one like certain song that has a choir part in it where the vocals literally just swell with the music and they're like, "Ah!" They literally do that.
I wish you took
at
the
certain
note.
points.
Damn it.
Oh man.
Where it was.
Oh, it happens so many times throughout the series. If you're just listening carefully
Yeah.
at any intense scene, it
Yeah.
probably happens. Also, just the entire soundtrack of the show, like Light's theme, like the subtle guitars and shit that play every time he's like thinking or something relating to a move he's making is happening, or like L's theme with the piano, the
Oh yeah.
oh man, the music in the show is just so interesting and unique, and every time something happens with a character, you know their song is playing. It's just like
How everybody's
Yeah.
cell phone ringtone is the theme song of the show.
that's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of theme songs,
I hate the second theme song.
of course you do.
Yeah, the
like
second
how did
some
you-
song.
Japanese metal
How
chorus.
do you feel, Dylan?
Okay, wait. I have a note that I took.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
said,
really like the visuals.
my note was whoa in all capitals. Why is the opening some metal shit now?
Some metal
with
shit.
the question mark.
Jesus
Man, I
Christ.
don't know. I didn't like it. Like I No, I skipped through it every time. Like, I got it. I like the visuals. I agree with that. But I subsequently skipped through it every time. I liked the first song a lot more.
The first ending theme song is great.
Right.
Oh, and the ending.
Yeah. So, I love the fucking second opening and ending.
Of course you did.
Yeah. I mean, I am... I do like heavy music, but it was so cool and nostalgic to experience this again. Also, just generally, this is one of my favorite openings, like, visually as well.
Yeah, it's pretty great visually.
Like, all the colors and crazy fucking shit that's going on.
Yeah.
And especially
Elle
in
doing
timing
like a
with the
kick
song.
in the air.
Yeah, just doing the spin kick. Oh, well, he kicks Light in the face. We didn't talk about that one. When they're chained together and just start beating each other up.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm more just than you are. No, I'm more just than you are. Or, like, whatever the fuck they're arguing about.
There's a great moment, now that we're just talking about that, does a quick interjection about, like, them being chained together.
Yeah.
There's a great moment where then they decide to stop fighting, and then Misa's like, oh, like, let's all be friends together. They'll make a still shot, and that's like, yay, fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I laughed out loud. That's my favorite part.
I watched that part in the sub and the dub because I wanted to see if L said yay in the same way, and he definitely does.
He says, yay, fun.
He goes, yay.
I've rewinded that at least 2 times just to hear Elle say, yay, fun. Because they kind of don't pay any attention to it in the script. Like, it's just there.
Anyway.
I'm pretty sure
like,
in Japanese.
Hey, I'm the Colossal Titan.
Yeah, I think in Japanese he just goes, or something, but it's like, it's equally funny. But yeah, wait, back to the music. I thought that was super fucking cool, not only as a 14-year-old who was just discovering heavy music and being like, whoa, what the fuck? This is like the stuff that I'm finding out about right now. This is so cool. They scream, there's guitars, and jun, 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 right? First and foremost, Maximum the Hormone is a fucking great Japanese heavy band.
Sorry,
amazing name.
I'm looking at my notes. It says, man, that second or last theme song is a disaster.
Yo, just gotta say, okay, I love it, and I gotta say that it's funny that this show is so wildly popular, and they decided to go with that.
Right.
It's like they force-fed a lot of people this music who weren't expecting it, like you guys maybe.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty funny.
Shout out to Netflix now that has a skip opening button.
Right.
I mean, it actually automatically does it for you.
Oh, yeah. That is a nice feature.
It's kind of annoying though sometimes because it can skip over like some of the recaps or like the parts of the show that happen before the recap.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Which is annoying.
It's not flawless.
The one other thing I wanted to say was, why did the medal come in on episode 20? It didn't really make sense that it was that episode. I was looking for some symbolism.
It should have been like right after Elle died.
Yeah, seriously.
Like shake things up a bit.
I thought, or the episode
Elle's dead!
You're just like,
Elle's doing a spin kick in the air.
It was like chaos that and that would have been good if it happened after Elle died. Because I don't know, I probably would have liked the song more.
I fucked with it so hard. But wait, also he's in the theme song and he's like a prominent part of the first half of the theme song or like the visuals in the song. So it's like, oh, he's kind of gotta be there if he's like, you know.
I mean, he continued to be there after
for a little while.
Wait, Dylan, when Elle died, what did you think was going to happen with the rest of the series? Like, very quickly, like, who did you think was going to... Oh, you thought the dad...
I didn't know, because the second he died was before I saw Mello and Nier.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I wonder what's going to happen, and that's when I said, oh, like, to me, with the knowledge I had, the next best ending, or the best ending I could think of, would be his dad finding out, killing Light, and then killing himself. I still think that would have been a good ending, and what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that?
I guess he put a lot of stock in Light's dad, huh?
Yeah.
Like, as a character. I mean, like, he was important, definitely, but, I don't know, I kind of wrote him off in a way. Like, he wasn't super important to me throughout the entire series. He was important for emotional impact, especially when he gets used by Light as a tool, and then he dies.
Well, yeah,
and then Light tricks him.
There's multiple parts that are interesting. Like in the third episode, you get a huge revelation that he's Light's dad.
Right.
The leader of the police is Light's dad. Maybe that's why Light has grown up to be like this, and thinks this way about how he should kill everybody. So that's very interesting. For just the fact that he's one of the only people to get the Shinigami eyes.
Yeah.
What a waste of the eyes. What a waste of half your lifespan.
Wait.
He does it to infiltrate the mafia boss's place where Mello is.
Right, yeah.
You have a SWAT team. You have guns. Why do you need the Shinigami eyes to kill Mello?
To pick off Mello.
No, that wasn't. It was so they could see if everyone died before they went in.
Which place? Remember what?
He got the Shinigami eyes so that they could prove that it was Kira talking to them, because he said, I'm killing all of the main mob members, and to prove it, like, you can see that they die. So they waited outside. The dad was holding the photos, remember?
Yeah, and
they said once their names
disappear,
and then you know they died. So that's why.
Finishing off the
What a
guys
waste.
inside
Oh
was,
my God.
but
It was old.
actually, wait, here's the thing. It wasn't a waste because he died that day, which means he only had twice that amount of time to live. So he would have died the next day anyways.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes, very insightful.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until watching it this time, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Like, I realized that, and I don't want to believe it at the same
Also,
time.
wait, like, earlier you mentioned kind of plot holes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Also, like, Nier picks up on this. He's like, that was way too convenient. Why the fuck would Kira reach out to the police and be like, hey, I know you have this notebook, and it would concern me a lot less if these guys I didn't know had the notebook. I know you guys because I've been stealing information from you. So can you just go and retrieve this notebook again so that I can keep tabs on it through you? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem, Kira. And they just go along with it without questioning it. It's like, what?
I don't think I was fully paying attention to that.
It gets kind of muddy. Like, episode 29 kind of threw me for a loop a little bit.
It was muddy, but it was supposed to be muddy because that's how Nier catches. Like, Nier's like,
this is too
Kira's
convenient.
working way too closely with the Japanese police force, and L is just like down for it. This
like,
all doesn't make sense. Therefore,
Aizawa, Mogi, and
Yo,
Matsuda,
they're so dumb.
Are they that stupid?
You can't give Matsuda any credit, dude. That guy sucks.
But he gets his redemption when he shoots lightning.
Yes, that.
my God.
My note was finally Matsuda does something worthwhile. This is the guy who snuck into. He thought it was a good idea
crawled
to
into
sneak,
Yotsuba.
to sneak into the company and then just like, oh hey, do you want to hire Misa? Yo, straight up dummy.
I mean, he was just trying to be useful, but he fucked up and tried to play it off.
But that's like hectic dumb.
He could do a
dumminess.
handstand on a balcony.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, guys.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was
Can't do that
impressive.
shit. And land onto a mattress? What? That angle looks so off.
Yeah,
How do you even...
he probably would have hurt himself at the very least.
Yeah.
Actually, the fact that he convinces the company guys to go back to the agency, then the doors open, then they see all these girls, and one of the company guys says, like, this is getting weird.
Yeah.
It was like, that's exactly what I was thinking, too.
They all put on their pink slippers and decide to hang out.
Actually, that reminded me of another thing. Like, there are these weird elements of comedy, like, throughout that, like, kind of make you laugh.
Right.
And one of the moments that made me laugh was in that scene with the company guys hanging out with all those models.
Yeah.
It, like, does a pan through the conversations that they're having, and one of the guys, like, yeah, like, you know, I still think about my ex sometimes. I was like, that is hilarious.
I didn't catch that. That's
Just
really
like
good.
a drunk guy talking to a hot girl, and he confesses that he misses his ex. I was like, that is great.
You nailed it.
That is
Got
true to
it.
life, man. That is awesome.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
great.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, sidecast.
What about Misa? We never fully talked about Misa.
Right, Misa.
Misa.
I feel really bad for her.
Yeah,
She gets used the fuck out of. Shinigami eyes twice.
Yeah, dude.
Lifespan cut in half twice.
Wait,
to
but-
the point where Light calls her an idiot.
yeah.
Yeah, that.
Since Rem sacrificed herself to save Misa,
right, yeah.
her life is more or less back to who knows when you're gonna fucking die, dude.
It just like refresh my memory. That's a defined rule that the death god's
because
lifespan goes to save you.
So the thing is, a Shinigami dies when they use their death note to extend the lifespan of someone who is meant to die sooner than the Shinigami may have wanted them to.
Right. Can I just quickly bring up that Rem dying from quote unquote saving Misa by killing Watari
Watari and L.
and L because they were about to conduct a 13-day test that would have then proved people guilty.
And then they would have been
That
executed.
is so tangentially bullshit.
Yeah.
That's just like a convenient way to get rid of Rem in that situation.
L.
Yeah.
Also,
L. Obviously L, but like
Yeah.
for the writers, I mean, to get rid of Rem.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And just have another Shinigami
Writer
kicking around.
I mean,
Yeah.
one writer.
Right, yeah, because that didn't have to be...
That was like so tangential. Like who is the Shinigami King deciding that is how tangentially related that Rem's gonna die now?
Yeah.
I know there's literally a Shinigami King.
Yeah.
No, I know.
There's a picture of him, I think, in the manga. He's just like a fucking big, bulbous thing.
I'm glad
That's
we didn't get to
gross.
see him.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I kind of wish we did. I like being revealed those mysterious shit where they're like, oh, there's a Shinigami King. And you never... It's the big guy, the old guy. You know?
Sorry,
What's this voice you're doing? Who is that? Who's saying...
the other... I don't know. Whichever other Shinigami may or may not be explaining the Shinigami lore. Fucking leave me alone.
Wait,
it's the guy with the needles for a mouth who shows up and is like, I wish everyone would see me.
Yeah. Can I have my death note back?
Cedo, I think.
Cedo, yeah. Oh my god, I love him. He's so funny. Every time he
great.
shows up, this like goofy music starts playing. It's like do 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 do. It's like
Hey, that's my death note.
it's like
That was also very convenient. Like, oh, hey, I'm here to grab my death note. It
Yeah.
was so they could get rid of one of their because they're three at that
Three,
point.
yeah.
They had to get it down to two again.
Hey, I'm back after 22 episodes.
Yeah.
It's been over 5 years.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm back.
what? He was
Yeah.
actually in the show before? Was he
No,
in the
no, no.
beginning?
No, I'm saying that when his death note was stolen, I'm
yeah.
guessing it's been
Yeah.
5 years since then.
Right.
Also, yeah, there's a time skip.
Yeah, dude, 5 years. He was just like chilling for a while, and then he
think-
decided, well, I guess I better go get it now. It's been 5 years.
I'd like to think that Shinigami time runs a little different than human world time.
I mean,
maybe that explains that.
Their years and times are different,
Yeah,
judging by
so-
what we see on top of people's heads.
Right.
It's like nonsensical numbers.
Oh yeah,
so,
because they see time differently. So
right.
Yeah.
that might sort of
I mean, they
attribute to that.
when you write somebody's name down in a notebook, they die in 40 seconds, which isn't a really even number in the human world.
Yeah,
it's like 30, 60, 45. No, it's 40.
Yeah.
Why?
No reason.
Is that a minute in the Shinigami realm? I don't know. Is that a year?
Could be, man.
Who knows?
But yeah, also, if a Shinigami doesn't write names down, they eventually die, because
Yes.
that's how they add to their own lifespan. So I guess someone was just like, hey, you're gonna die if you don't get your thing back. And he's like, oh, you're right. See you later. And then, shows up. Oh, and I love how he's like following Ryuk around. He's like, Ryuk, where's my
Hey,
death
stop
note?"
following me.
He's like, It's like, leave me alone.
Pulls Ryuk to like eat an apple in an alleyway or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I think Light might be being filmed at that point, or like being watched
Maybe.
or something.
Yeah,
Anyways,
something like that.
Ryuk has to eat apples in
he's put
secrecy.
under
Yeah.
surveillance again.
Right.
Remember
by
the first
Aizawa.
time Light was put under surveillance and he's just looking at like a nudie mag?
Yeah.
And Elle's like, this isn't that unusual.
This is
I used to
normal
do
for a
this when I was his
17-year-old.
age." Yeah.
Yeah, and then his dad's like, I can't believe my son would stoop to such low points. It's like,
Yeah. And he's looking at like just models. They're not even
yeah,
naked.
Yeah.
I guess they wouldn't show that in the show anyway.
Yeah.
because
He's
they were
not
naked.
beating off. He's
Yeah.
just watching.
He's just pleasantly
just like,
watching, which is even more
yes.
serial.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, to just
That's a
stare
red
and-
flag.
Yes.
He's
Boobs.
quite.
Pleasant.
It's I think a robot trying to blend in with humans.
Yeah. I'll solve math equations with my right hand and jerk off with my left.
I'll take a page and flip it.
Oh god.
Oh god.
And he throws away a fucking $400 tiny TV.
Wait, I love how there's 64 cameras in Light's bedroom, and he can somehow look at a TV screen in a potato chip bag.
Yeah, that was dumb.
How did he seal it in the bag?
Yeah, how did he seal it in the bag? How is the angle so perfect that
Yeah,
he
and
can
it's just
see
like,
the potato?
there's
the
no
camera-
glow coming out of the
I know.
64
bag.
cameras.
64. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess he might have had it on mute or something, because then the wiretaps didn't pick it up either.
Yeah, you would have to have it on
Yeah,
mute,
what
right?
the fuck? Oh,
How did he
God.
turn it on? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
There's a lot of stuff about that.
but
Yeah.
it's I'm glad he did it.
Sorry, we were talking about Misa.
We were, yeah.
I cut you off a long time ago. Yeah.
Misa.
Guys, she gets the Shinigami eyes twice, and she also gives up ownership twice.
Yeah.
At the end of the series, she doesn't know anything about the Death Note.
Right, yeah,
guys
she's
realize
just
that?
sad because she must have heard through the grapevine that Light's dead.
Well,
She's riding a train really sad.
Yes.
She maybe kills herself, but
yeah,
also
it's left
maybe
ambiguous.
So, because I'm wondering what happens at the end of the show, because life continues after the show.
Sure.
And, I mean, L knew that Misa Amane was the second Kira, so
Yeah.
it stands to reason that Nier would figure that out, right? Or has figured that out, right?
Right.
Or no, maybe he'd figure that out
actually
eventually.
didn't even
so
think
I
about
would
that.
wonder about that. The only thing was with Light dead and all the Shinigamis having left and the Death Notes being destroyed, there wouldn't be any hard evidence to prove that anymore. Like, I'm trying to think, how would he
Yeah.
prove Misa Amane?
Right.
Okay,
So maybe she just wouldn't know. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Nier's quirk is that he plays with toys. It's like the weird thing that he does is he plays with toys and his hair. Like L eats sweets and sits funny and does other weird shit.
Well, no,
There's
no. I think, like, you might be viewing it not like the whole picture. I think the picture is that there was L, and his two descendants take half of his traits.
Right,
And so
well,
Mello eats the candy.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Nier sits
Does the
like him,
weird shit.
twirls his hair like L sometimes does.
Right.
Yeah.
And
he-
maybe he's just
al-
because he's a child or whatever.
like
that he
because he's a
plays.
child, he plays with toys, but he's always stacking the objects in a very particular
Yeah, yeah,
order, which
yeah.
L would
Making
always still
cities.
do.
Oh, yeah.
with candy or
That's
objects,
interesting. I
like
never-
matches and
Never
stuff.
thought about that being
So they
split.
just like take his traits and split them in half.
So that's
Wait.
interesting. I didn't think about the split,
Yeah, me neither.
and I'm not sure I agree necessarily.
I agree.
Sean agrees
I
with
don't
Sean.
agree.
No, I don't know.
But anyways, the point I was getting at is when Nier's using not his finger puppets, but the little Legos that he puts on the Christmas tree
Yep.
to sort of deduce who is who and who's an important player when and where. The last time we see him use Misa's figure, or like something that he attributes Misa to, is when he's like, oh, I think her name's Takeda, the
I think it's
news
Takeda,
anchor,
yeah.
when he's like, oh, there's a love triangle between Misa, Takeda, and Light, L, who's Kira. Also, Misa is useless, and then doesn't use her again because she's not Kira at that point anymore, and doesn't
Right.
become Kira. And the only thing he cares about going forward is ex-Kira, who's Mikami Teru. I think not that he writes her off completely. Maybe he does go after her or something, and we
Right.
don't know about it. But at that point in the show, even we don't really care about Misa because she's kind of written out of it.
She is like essentially written out of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I still cared about Misa.
I mean, yeah, as like
You and Matsuda.
your favorite idol. But yeah, she's not really a point of focus, and she's too dumb to do anything, and she's not gonna remember the Death Note, and she doesn't have access to a Death Note, and she's not a threat, and she might have done fucked up shit in the past, but she's kind of irrelevant at this point almost. So maybe that's why Nier didn't go after her.
Sure. Well, anyways, do you guys think she killed herself? I think she probably did.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that she would, because she's upset, like she's super duper obsessed with Light.
Well, yeah, she like doesn't want to live without him.
Right, yeah. So it would make sense that upon hearing that he died, she just kind of,
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me too much. And I wonder, now I've been thinking about it, maybe she might figure out that she was the second Kira. Like,
I mean, it's possible that she doesn't remember it, but that
right,
she figures out like, this is probably
that's
true.
what that's what I'm wondering about. Like, I do think maybe she might have figured out, because Misa's like dumb, but like she does prove herself capable at the beginning to some
Yeah.
degree, because the way she organizes like the tapes and like.
She gets a friend to like wrap them up and send them.
Yeah.
And
but
then
she still leaves her DNA all over it.
Yeah, there's some fibers, but
Right.
I'm saying
Hairs and crumbs
just
and shit.
like you can give her some credit,
Yeah,
That was
right?
so like that's when I knew how devoted she was, when she like talks to Light for the first time.
Yeah,
and she
yeah,
says
yeah.
like, "I'll kill my friend right now if you ask me to."
Yeah.
Yeah,
like whoa, dude.
super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she
Also,
might kill
that
herself.
reminds me of something. Remember, like Light was so close to killing his sister.
Oh yeah,
When she gets captured by the
Yeah,
mafia.
dude.
Mello?
He was like, "Am I gonna have to kill?"
It's like,
her?
I think I'm gonna have to just knock her out if it comes down to it.
Yeah, So weird.
Well, also, dude, he's like, his dad's dying. He's like, how can I get my dad to write it? He's like, oh, I could just pretend to be distraught. That wouldn't look that
last ditch
Dad,
effort.
you can write it. And he's like, will this work, maybe? Like, you know, it's so like,
yeah, it's
crazy.
disgusting.
You don't
But I
give
mean,
a shit
he
about
does use
anyone.
his dad as a tool ultimately to try kill Mello, but his dad's too properly just.
Yeah.
that he doesn't do it because he's like, surrender now and I won't kill you. And then he gets fucking shot.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
did you guys think it was weird or like interesting how Light has a young sister? Fast forward 5 years, you
Gets
just get
hot.
you get a recap scene where she's just hot now.
Yeah.
It's like Matsuda, you're never gonna marry her.
It's like, I'll never let my
Somebody
daughter marry a
me.
detective. Yeah.
Odd.
That's kinda
I just felt like it was odd.
and then
she was
she-
that young at the beginning. I assumed she was
She
probably
seemed
like
pretty-
14 or something.
Yeah,
and
sure,
then it
yeah,
jumps
she's
5
like
years to 1919.
something
Yeah.
like that.
But also, yeah, she ends up like a vegetable basically. She's in a wheelchair after that whole
Just like she's like
incident.
traumatized.
Yeah, she's
Oh
like-
yeah.
it was like a short.
I
scene
mean,
of
maybe
that.
that's temporary, but I mean, the last we see of Light's mom too is just her weeping alone in her house, which
Right.
is so sad. She's like, I just wanted my son to get good grades. I just wanted him to come first in his class. That's all I wanted.
Oh man.
And now her daughter's a vegetable, her husband's dead, and her son's the god of the new world until he gets shot.
But Light's dad got to die thinking his son wasn't Kira. As Ryuk says,
Yeah.
like, that's really nice for him.
Also, I'm really glad that his dad didn't end up using the Death Note, because when he
Yeah.
died, he would have gone to limbo.
Yeah,
it's also
such a moral
Yeah,
compass.
it's
You wouldn't let that
Do you
die.
think that's an interesting concept?
it's interesting because they confirm in the lore of the world that there is a heaven and a hell.
Yes. That's what I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
super,
that's cool.
super interesting, and they
Yeah.
never discuss it in the show.
Right, yeah.
The fact that it just confirms all this
Yeah,
shit.
it's like, don't think you can go to heaven or hell. It's like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Those are things?
Forget about the notebook. There's heaven and hell.
Yeah. Also, the fact that Light used it so hard before being given that information, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, word, I guess I'm going to limbo.
Ryuk just shows up being like, yeah, just to give you a heads up, anybody who uses his Death Note is like stuck in limbo.
Yeah,
Not that
you've
you
told
already
me
wrote
that, yeah.
600 names and cured the world of the most evil people.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well roll with it at this point.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Also, I also fucking just love Ryuk in
Yeah.
general. He's
Yeah.
just so great. Like, you don't know whether he's like sinister or like the funniest thing in the
He's
world.
mostly comedic relief,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
what. I mean, if you think about it, he's a god of death. You don't expect him to be that way.
Yeah, he
and the way
goes-
he looks, like if you just like look at Death Note on a surface
Right.
level, and you're like, oh, he's like the funny character.
He goes
Yeah.
through
Most of it.
withdrawal and shit when he doesn't eat
Yeah,
apples and starts
yeah.
contorting.
Yeah, what the
He's
fuck
like,
is that?
like, come on, man, give me the fix, dude.
It's like drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes for humans.
Yeah,
I go through withdrawal.
Yeah.
Rem is a snooze, but Ryuk is just like
yeah, Rem is, like,
awesome.
Rem realizes how to kill a Shinigami, which is to get a Shinigami to like fall in love with a human.
Yeah.
That's how you distill it into one sentence, that
Yeah.
idea. And then she falls in love with the same human.
Yeah.
What?
dummy. Yeah.
Yeah, dumbass. But Ryuk is
Truly
actually,
indifferent, yeah.
He's just there like we are. Like sometimes we agree with Light, sometimes we
Yeah.
don't. We know that somebody's lying to Light and we laugh.
Yo,
just like
every-
Ryuk laughs,
Yeah,
laughs
like-
when like Ray Penber's.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Ryuk is watching Death Note.
Yeah,
like the
dude.
same way we are.
Every
Yeah, he's
time
just like,
things get
this is
interesting, he
sick.
goes, things are getting interesting.
Yeah.
It's like,
I should mention that I've seen the two like TV films that are after Death Note called
Right.
Death Note Relight 1 and 2.
Yeah,
The
which
first
is, like,
one
the
is about like
recaps.
everything up until L dies, and the second one is about everything afterwards.
Yeah.
The first one is bookended by scenes of Ryuk in the Shinigami realm.
right. He's got a new outfit.
He's got a new outfit, and he doesn't have pupils in his eyes anymore.
Right.
And he's talking about the story about how he met Light to a new Shinigami that's really bored and wants to go down to
Who has
Earth.
goggles.
Yeah, who has goggles. But there's a theory online saying that this Shinigami that's really bored and wants to go back down to Earth is Light.
What?
It's a fan theory. There's both points to go against it, but
Yeah.
points to prove it.
Yeah.
There's points like he's dressed in a lot of the stuff that Light wears. He has like a similar tie to the tie that Light wears to school. He's wearing a similar jacket that Light wears to school.
Yeah.
He's really bored in life.
Right. He
There's
has
stuff
no
like that.
memory of like his previous existence.
Yeah, so there's like people think that could be Light. like reincarnated as a Shinigami.
Interesting.
And that reinforces the not going to heaven or hell. This limbo that you're stuck in is coming back as a Shinigami.
Interesting.
In order to live out that life.
But where do Shinigamis go when they die?
Who's to say?
Interesting.
Maybe they finally go to heaven or hell.
Yeah.
Or maybe they go to limbo.
Limbo,
Maybe that's
yeah.
the
Actual limbo.
the passage.
Nothingness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryuk is fucking great. He's really funny, but also he gets the last laugh at the very end.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about that like final arc, the duel between Nier and Light?
Well,
Very odd.
I definitely odd, but like I kind of loved how certain Nier was. Like as soon as he gets like a whiff that Light's Kira, he's like, Light's definitely Kira. He's Kira. And then like he's like, you know, he commits to it. Not even to the point that L was at where he's like, maybe. Like, oh, there is a percentage of it. Like, I'm pretty sure Nier says, oh, there's a 10% chance or a 5% chance.
he actually
that
says
Kira.
he says
But,
7.
Yeah,
I wrote
right.
it down because I'm like, this guy is L.
Yeah, but he commits to it a lot harder. He really believes and acts on the belief that L is Kira, and it's funny seeing that pressure put on Light for that entire last arc. Mm-hmm. And also just the showdown and like the ultimate switcheroo. And that fucking crazy tense moment where the episode ends off where, oh my god, are they gonna all die next episode? And it's just wrap up of Light taking over the world.
Right.
That was pretty fucked up.
It's
and
crazy
great.
thinking that all of this could have been prevented if Light just sucked it up and got the Shinigami eyes.
Yeah, I know, right?
He just didn't want to lose half his lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, his lifespan wasn't that long.
Yeah,
when you think
well-
about it, it's like
5.5
5
years,
after
something?
getting the Death Note.
Well, no,
so-
he would have lived much longer. The only reason why he died is because Ryuk didn't want to stay on Earth waiting for him to rot in a jail cell.
Right.
He wasn't
right.
supposed to die then.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah,
true.
Ryuk like makes it clear. Like,
Oh yeah, he's like, you could die later in a jail cell, but I don't want to wait that long.
yeah,
See you later.
yeah. And
Right.
he kills him.
Yeah.
I kind of viewed Ryuk's speech there as almost like the chorus at the end of a Shakespeare play. Kind of like
Oh.
Ryuk kind of just like bookends it,
Yeah,
Nice.
right? And it's
Yeah.
almost like he's not exactly addressing the audience, but he's just kind of like saying like this story is done, right?
Yeah, more or less. Where he's
And
like, I've had my fun.
and it just
I'm-
like felt like a
It's
kind of
like, I guess
Shakespearean thing to
that
me.
was a good
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
spend some time when I was bored.
Yeah.
Now
I'd
it's
say-
time to go.
mainly. Yeah, no, definitely. I felt the same way. Mainly because the way he starts that monologue at the end is by saying that I told you when you first picked up the Death Note that
Yeah.
the first person to use it, their name will be written in it by me.
Yeah.
Referring to my Death Note. Like
Yeah.
I will be the one to take your life at the end of all this.
Dylan, how did you feel at the end, at the climax of it all? How did you think it was going to play out? What was going through your head as
Well,
a first-time viewer?
I mean, I couldn't imagine the ending where Light isn't brought to justice. Like, I couldn't imagine it ending with Light being like, and I'm the new god, and like,
Really?
Nier's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
that being the end. Because even if you're someone who, you know, gets Light, or you like Light, or you want to see how he's doing, or like, yeah, you just like, you want to see him succeed, I think all of us, well, most of us have like a moral compass that might say, you know, Light is ultimately wrong. Like, I get why he's doing, and there's merit to it, and there's arguments you could make.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't imagine it being as satisfying seeing all those like Nier and like the police officers die, and then Light's just like, and I'm gonna keep going, like, you know?
Right, yeah.
Like, I think there has to be this finite end to Light Yagami.
Oh,
Right?
man.
So I couldn't picture it going any other way. Like, Nier was going to win.
Right.
And yeah, like I just knew it would play that way. And really, it's like Nier's going to win, but really like L's going to win.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Nier couldn't do it without Mello's intervention. If Mello never pulled that stunt where he tried to kidnap
Right.
Takeda, they would have never seen the break in Teru's routine.
Right.
Right.
And then they would have never wisened up that there's like a dummy Death Note. And
Yeah,
then,
and
you know,
Yeah.
Nier like says that he's like, I alone never would have been able to surpass L.
he would
I
have
needed
fallen
Mello.
into
Yeah.
Light's original plan.
Yeah.
And they would have probably died there.
Right. Well, I mean, yes, I think Nier might have not made the move he did, but eventually he might have been bested by Light.
Right.
Because I think Nier made that move specifically because he was so confident. He knows like this is a fake. That was a fake note, and I tampered with both.
Yeah. Did you guys find it satisfying watching Light crumble and like kind of scrabble for his last vestige of like, oh, he set me up. He set me. This is a setup, guys. Like, did that satisfy you at all?
Yeah, it did for me. Like,
it was a lot. Did satisfy me.
Yeah, for me,
it was, didn't want to see him do that.
Yo, for me, it was super gratifying. I was like, yes, L wins.
Like, would you rather it be him kind of more like you got me, and then he dies? Like, is that what you're saying, Sean? Like,
no, I just wanted him to win.
Really?
Oh my god.
I don't know. Yeah.
Really? Oh fuck, man! I was so stoked that he died. Light Yagami, more like Light ya got me. Okay, yeah. What were you saying?
Such a dopamine. I get such a dopamine rush from the you think you got me? Well, I got you. And
you played yourself.
Have that. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of had that, but in a really stupid way. They ended it with like the stupidest "you got me," which is, oh, you thought you replaced the notebook? I replaced it back. It's like, what? Okay, you both had the exact same plan.
But it was more than that, though. Because, it's like, because, when Mello died, hold on.
Sad.
I was bummed, dude.
Sad.
I wrote something.
First.
Yeah, dude. I wrote, like, what? I feel like, I said, I feel like the way Mello was written out was pretty lame. It didn't feel like a proper end.
Also,
and they gave him a better ending. That flashback showed you like Mello meant something.
Yeah.
Mello meant something.
Later on.
And
flashback?
When
in 37 they said like I couldn't have done it without him because Mello makes the decision like, all right, well I'll do it, like I'll break the routine.
Yeah, he calls that SPK member, I forgot her name, and he's like, you just need to Hal Lidner.
Yeah.
And he's like, you just need to see him write on the note and have it work, right? Okay. And then him and his boy die, and it sucks.
Yeah,
right.
Also, the best frame of the intro sequence is when Light's walking and you just see Mello under him with the light shining down on his face. I don't know. I love that.
Wait, does that mean that like Mello knew he was going to die, or just like thought like there's a chance I might die?
No, he knew he was going to die.
Like, he fully knew he was
I don't know if he knew he was going to die, but he knew that he had to do that because like.
So it's another L situation where he's not like sure he's gonna die, but he's ready.
Yeah,
for it.
But he's like ready for it. He knows because I think
he apologizes to his
Nier
friend.
Have this. Yeah, he's like I didn't. Well, he says I didn't know
for you to die.
Yeah, to die. But like Mello and Nier, they're like siblings, and even though like they have that respect for each other, and I think both of them. I think we can say that both of them know that they needed each other in the end to kill Kira. Like they wanted to do it on their own. But
it's weird because like when they're first in the orphanage in 2007 realizing that L is dead, Mello just fully says no, Nier should be the successor to L. But then he just walks out of the room and then goes to fucking be a huge asshole to Nier's whole SPK team. Just kills like 20 of them.
Yeah. That's
so weird. But also, I want to say in the Relight films, the second Relight film, they re-edit it to make it that Kira is the one to kill the SPK team and not Mello. So Mello comes off as being much more of a regular cool guy.
Interesting.
And they cut out the whole mafia thing. Also in the Relight movie, they never even discuss how Light's dad dies.
What the fuck?
He just straight up doesn't die because it's not on screen. They just act like it never happened. And he doesn't show up anywhere. He's just gone. He's just cut out.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's
weird. That's silly.
And they don't even show Misa almost maybe killing herself in the Relight film. They just like cut out a lot of stuff, kind of change it a bit. Yeah. But you do get to see some sick shots of bitch Kira like killing the shit out of people. In fact, I saw a lot of people talking online about this, saying like there's a rule in the Death Note saying that people can't die in an unrealistic way. It has to be feasible.
Right.
But in the movie, he like violently kills somebody by having their head turn 360 degrees.
What the fuck?
Or I guess 180. No, I don't know, whatever.
All the way around.
Yeah, all the way around pretty much. Which people have complained about in the Death Note wiki. Yeah.
Oh man! Speaking of amazing deaths, the TV guy when he fucking finally croaks when Mikami Teru is first introduced, when like all the different like, here are the heralds of Kira, and then they just like die one at a time and fall down the stairs, and this fucking asshole in his yellow sunglasses just chokes and it's like bleh, and it's like bing. Technical difficulties. Happy smiling Sakura's.
Oh, God.
Sakura television.
Guys, you know what occurred to me when I was watching the Relight movies? It occurred to me that at the end, if Light didn't freak out with such emotion, he probably could have talked his way out of this. If you just thought about it for a little bit.
Because he's cocky. Because he's a
don't know. I don't know
narcissist,
if I
dude.
agree.
Dylan.
If he didn't
Give me your speech. Give me your pitch.
Didn't fucking just give it all away with I win near when Mikami Teru is supposed to kill them at 40 seconds. That's a confession. Aizawa says it himself, but you're
also just saying I win.
Yeah.
You could feasibly say like, oh guys, like I was just saying I win because like
I'm not here.
I came here and I led bitch Kira here. Like I won, not you, Nier. I'm the one who got him caught. You could just pull off some shit like that, but that's not what I'm getting at right now. What I'm getting at is that there's Death Notes on Earth right now. People have touched Death Notes. And the people who like are in the police system right now don't necessarily know fully about Death Note ownership and what Death Note ownership means and the Shinigami eyes and all this shit. Because almost none of them have Shinigami eyes. So what Light could have maybe said is that the Death Note in possession by the police, the one that the dude had strapped to his like chest when they came to meet Nier, is like he's technically in possession of it because he was the one to touch it, and so the name doesn't show above his head, and that's why his name is not being shown. And he knew this because like he talked to Rem earlier and she told him that.
The name does show above his head. It's not the lifespan, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that puts a hole in.
Wait, but no, that's like a very, very similar thing. Because if the lifespan doesn't show, then bitch Kira would have thought that Light was Kira, and he still wouldn't have written his name down, even though he was. And he could have said, guys, I took this as like a security measure. Right. Sorry to my team, like Matsuda, but I wanted to secure my life maybe over everybody else's. I'm sorry, but I've been in ownership of the note. That doesn't mean I'm Kira.
Also, him saying, this is a setup. I've never seen that guy in my life before. Could have been a viable argument if he didn't say, I win.
Yeah, if he just screamed that, it could have been realistic.
Yeah. But like the whole thing is like we had to see that was like that was him, that was like the tragic flaw, like the hubris. Because he's literally like
struggling.
Hold it in your smile.
You
like,
see his mouth
but
twitching.
he's in the end he's like, I can't, like, and it's almost like Nier needs to hear me say I win before he dies, right? Like that's what it is. Like I'm gonna hold L and I'm gonna crack a smile.
Yeah.
That like maybe he can see. I don't know if L saw that or not, but you know,
so.
Right? But like it's like those things. Like he has to have the satisfaction.
Right.
They have to know that he wins. They can't just die and then
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Yeah.
Fucking.
I had a question that I wanted to ask you guys, and I kind of answered what I think about it because I said like we have to see Light fall, but I thought like this show could have ended at episode 25.
Yeah.
Could it But could it have? Like, what do you guys think about? Like, what do you think? It could have ended there.
I was going to bring this up earlier when you were talking about whether or
option?
not it would have felt nice to have Light win at the end. If you want Light to win at the end, then you can stop watching after episode 25. Because
he wins for 5 years.
he wins for 5 years, and you get the world that he would want to make.
Right.
He makes
it.
You would have to cut out the shot of Nier and Mello. And then the show could end there.
Yeah. But it's just not satisfying.
It's
so
not.
We all need to see him
I'm
lose.
saying like that's what it is in the end. Like even if you're rooting for him deep down, you still got to see him lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would say that like Walter White is a more charismatic character than Light Yagami for
this
sure.
This is the character from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Walter White from Breaking Bad. And
because
in the end,
more dimension
you
to
still
him.
want to see him lose. Like you like him, and you're also just like, man, Bryan Cranston's such a good actor. But you're like, I got to see this guy die, right? And it's like I got to see Light die.
They even die similarly in like a fucking warehouse type of deal.
yeah. There's like a similar shot. But it was great to see him freak out and lose his shit because it's like finally you're not this calm and collected guy. Like you're losing. And you don't have a way out. Like, you can't think of something right now.
Yeah.
You're not fast enough to think of what Sean's saying right now, like, to figure out a way out. You thought you were going to win. You didn't have a backup plan.
Right, right? This was it.
He fucked up.
It's like you didn't have a backup plan.
Also, which is the thing that's gross and that made me feel unsettled was when he's like writhing on the ground, all shot up and like
Yeah.
screaming at people like, I'm the only one who could have done it. None of you fucking pussies had the balls to do what I did. Fuck
Yeah.
you guys. And then he's thinking in his head, he's like, oh my god, what do I do? And like when he gets up and crawls away and he runs and he's like, he's having flashbacks to when he first picked up the note.
Yeah.
And then he passes like a phantom of himself being like 5 years ago, not knowing the mess he would get into.
Yeah.
And like he's all shot up wearing a suit and like limping his way to his demise. And it kind of like gave me a bit of a pang. And I was like, oh man, you had good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
You really wanted to do something good, but it's too bad you suck. It sucks to suck, dude.
Yeah. I'm glad he saw L before he died.
Oh yeah,
Right,
that was
yeah. I
cool.
was like,
at
yeah,
the
you
end, just
did.
standing at his feet.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, even leading up to when he meets up with Nier, he keeps saying like, this guy's nothing compared to L. Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's like that goes back to that respect that he had for L.
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
opens
yeah.
the door and he's like, "How dare he wear L, like a mask of L on his
Right,
face?
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
nothing compared to L."
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty wild.
it's-
Oh, also the fact that Nier's toy for Kira is just the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The dynamic between Nier and Mello was another thing. I feel like we're almost done all our thoughts, but I really want to
Yeah.
talk about the dynamic between Nier and Mello, because if it wasn't, like what I was saying, like I think Light's dad killing him could have been like a possible ending to the show, but if there had to be two there, because if it was just Nier, it wouldn't be that satisfying, because it would be like, L's dead.
Exactly.
There's a new L, right?
Right.
I think that Nier is almost L. Like, I don't think that they split L that much, because
he looks the same almost.
Mello
Yeah.
is a genius, but he's a rogue, right? He's
the emotion-
so different.
It's like, yeah, you see that divide right when they're introduced. It's like,
Yeah.
Mello's the one getting emotional, being like, what did you just say? Al just died? And this might be a bit heavy-handed, but Nier's literally putting a puzzle together on the floor.
Yeah.
And then Mello
Right.
is like, he sees things like a puzzle. He could probably do
Yeah,
Al's
like-
job better.
yeah, like he is just so much like L.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Right?
I see what you're saying, and that's not necessarily what I meant. I didn't mean like emotionally.
Yeah.
I just mean like their quirks.
Oh, yeah,
their
the
quirks
quirks.
are like
Yeah.
50-50 split.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Also, remember that one Shinigami that's looking for his death note starts eating the chocolate.
Oh, he
just
likes
like
it?
how
Yeah.
Leo starts
Yeah,
eating the
he
apples.
does.
It's very
Good.
interesting, and his like weird
Oh god.
Tentacle
insect teeth are like
teeth.
all licking it. It's
Yeah,
so weird.
it's pretty gross.
Oh, but
and
what
funny.
but Dylan, you just talking about that right now makes me think like, L still had feelings and like emotions,
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
thought that Light was his friend, whether or not that was the truth or whatever. It
Yeah.
probably was, but he had emotions,
Nier's
which makes
a
me think
lot
like
more dead.
Nier
Yeah.
had, we never get any semblance that he has any emotions whatsoever
At all,
and
yeah.
Mello is all emotions, and Mello is
Yeah,
willing to kill
okay.
people,
Yeah,
and
fair
Light
enough.
or L is willing to use the death note on somebody. So like,
Right, yeah.
it's almost like Nier, maybe, I'm just saying, I'm putting this out there because I don't know if I fully believe it. Maybe Nier has zero emotions and is willing to take like no lives to get his job done.
Right.
And Mello is all emotions and willing to just like take lives. Like
Yeah. a
L was
lot of
willing to
people
take like
fucking
maybe
die.
one life to get this done.
Sure,
Yeah,
but then
but-
in that case, I think L is not the middle ground. He's
Sure.
definitely way closer
He's
to
closer to
Nier.
Nier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Because-
N. We've never called
Yeah,
him N.
N,
yeah,
yeah.
Why didn't they say M for Mello?
I mean, he is M,
He never
technically.
communicated through a screen.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like Nier wants to stay as true to the L method as possible,
Yes.
and in doing that, he almost overdoes it, where he's like not willing to kill anybody. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, should we just storm this place with guns and kill Kira and ex-Kira, and then when they stop dying, when criminals stop dying, we look at the evidence in the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no, L wouldn't do things that way. But
And L wouldn't though. I don't.
he wouldn't go that far, but he would use like a criminal who's about to die in
Yes.
order.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
prove something, which
But
he
Nier
has in the
wouldn't.
past.
And Mello would definitely go beyond that.
yeah.
Also, Nier and L both shop at American Apparel. The exact same shit.
They're like,
Right.
at the end of the day, it's a battle of wits, right? And that's what I attribute to the fact that they won't make, like, that's like, should we just storm the building? He's like,
Right,
no,
yeah.
I'm gonna, like, I don't know, bring my queen out. You know what I mean? Like,
Outmaneuver
he's
him.
like
Yeah.
ready to do those kinds of things.
Right.
But yeah, like, I think those two characters is what made, like, okay, definitely the last 12 episodes are not as good as, like, the first 25. Like, I found myself missing L.
Yeah,
But
for
the
sure.
dynamic between Nier and Mello also was one of the things that kept things interesting. And one of the things I wish Death Note would have done is dive more into the dynamic between them, maybe their backstory. Or
Right.
I wish there was a little more screen time for Mello. Like, I would have liked to
Yeah.
have
Me
gotten
too.
to know Mello more. I would have liked to have seen Mello, makes greater leaps to discovering who Kira is. Like, I would have liked to see them both discovering things and, like, coming together.
Yeah.
Like, it was very, like, Mello solved a bunch of shit, and then, like, I don't know, he, like, blew up a building, and then he died.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
a lot of the time when we were focusing on Mello's part of the story, when he does all the kidnapping shit and the
Yeah.
ransoming for the Death Notes, I was kind of like, why is he doing this? And I was like, oh, yeah, because he wants to see how Light reacts to it, because he is probably working off the same information that Nier is. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to do things my way and see if I can kick the hornet's nest and make Light slip somehow in order to expose him. But they never overtly say, oh, Mello is trying to discover who Kira is, and he's trying to arrest Kira. Because it doesn't really make sense, because he's allied with criminals. He's with the
Right.
mafia. So it's like, why would this criminal... Like, what place does he have arresting another criminal, right? So they never overtly spell it out for you like that. And it's just kind of implied when Nier mentions it. And he's like, oh, Mello's competing with us. He's trying to he's trying to beat the quote-unquote final boss before I do.
Right.
And that's all we get.
Yeah. I wanted a lot more Mello stuff. I wanted more of both Mello and Nier.
Yeah.
Just like be more of a thing in the show, like take over L's place.
Yeah.
But I guess like at the bottom line, it's not about that. It's more like even if Mello and Nier weren't there, they'd be like figments in Light's imagination. They're like standing on his shoulder, stopping him.
Right.
They're like L from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
They're more like an idea than they are
Yeah.
characters or people.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude. Also,
Yeah,
that
that's a good argument.
scene where after Light, I think maybe the first time he interacts with Nier, or like the first time he gets checked by Nier, it's like he's like, what is this feeling? And then all the chains start going around him.
Oh, yeah,
And then you
and-
see L in the background, and it's like, it feels like L is still here kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, yes!
Yeah.
Yes, get him!
It's definitely a cool type of thing.
Yeah, I missed L a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was bummed.
It gives me like not a similar feeling, but like an idea. Like you watch Digimon season 1 as you do, and everybody has their own crest, and they're all like it's singular to theirs. Ties is like courage or whatever. Matt's
Yeah.
friendship. Then you watch Digimon season 2, and new people have to take their place. And there's a new character called Davis, and he is both the courage and the friendship crest, and you need to
Yeah.
use both. He's the main character.
Yeah.
And that's like me seeing like Death Note season 1 figuratively, and then season 2. You gotta have these guys take over, you know?
Yeah.
New cast, new people,
New guard.
new
Changing
guard.
of the guard.
Yeah, old guard, new guard.
Yeah, man.
But nothing beats L.
Nothing
L's
beats
great.
L. L's
Yeah,
the fucking
love
greatest,
L.
dude.
Definitely something I want to bring up before we end off is the shot where Light's plan comes full circle and he finally regains his memories of the Death Note and gets the Death Note
yeah.
back. He's just sitting in a helicopter. L has the Death Note. We don't even see Light grab it. It's like off screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
And
funny.
it cuts back to him. You hear like a jet engine noise from a plane, and then it cuts. And he's just screaming. His eyes are just like balls of light with all this information. It's like in Full Metal Alchemist when you open the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Like,
I love that scene.
right. Every
Yeah.
orifice of lights is being filled with information.
Light shooting
Damn.
light, spreading light. Yeah.
Yeah. Light remembers. That's a great scene. Also the fact that L doesn't pick up on it at all. He's just like, you good, dude?
Yeah. Yagami Lighto.
Good show.
Yeah,
Great
I guess
show.
we never really mentioned Takeda and how she's used as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
She
Wait,
dies being
hold
burned
on,
to
hold on,
death in
hold
the
on.
back of a truck.
That's something.
She kills Mello.
Yeah, she does
Yeah.
kill Mello. What I don't understand, okay, I get why Mello went after Takeda. It's to stir the pot, and it's to make Mikami slip, I guess. Mm-hmm. And also, I guess on the surface, because she has direct contact with Kira because she's quote-unquote Kira's voice. So it makes sense why he'd go after her. But also, why did Light kill her? What was the purpose of that? Was it because in their last meeting he got her to signal like, oh, because they're passing notes, right?
Yeah.
And then he gives her a script where she's like, oh, I guess I will help you and the police force, and I'll fuck over Kira, basically.
Right.
So did he not want that to come to fruition and have her actually have to interact with the police force? So might as well get rid of her before that happens? Or like, was it because she had a Death Note piece on her and that she killed Mello with it? But also that wouldn't really be that much of an issue because she's in direct contact with Kira. So it
I'm
wouldn't
just
be,
gonna say that
know.
he already had his date with Nier by then. He said like meet 3 days from
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
This was like a day or two before meeting Nier, and he wanted that day meeting Nier for everybody who had knowledge of the Death Note on Earth to
be
die.
gone. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I guess
So
Just
he
that's-
tying
wanted
loose
them-
ends.
Yeah, like he wanted bitch Kira, that guy. Just,
Yeah.
He's probably gonna kill him right after or something like that.
Yeah.
He just wanted them gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Do we have anything left to say about the show?
I think that's it.
I guess that's it. I mean, I'm really interested to know how this story could be told in a movie, like one movie.
It can't, which is why
It can't.
we know it's going to be shit.
Are you alluding to our next episode?
I
Dylan?
am. I am.
So what I was going to say is that there's been many live action Death Note movies,
And they've
some
all been
Japanese ones. There was
fucking
one
awful.
there was one in 2006, which is before the show even ended, I believe.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
I have that date.
Yeah.
right.
Disgusting.
Oh, there was two in 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one called Death Note 2: The Last Name. I think probably about finding the last name of L. I feel
Really
like I've seen these,
bad.
but they were so shitty I forgot them.
Really bad.
The third one in 2008, L Changed the World.
Oh my
Whatever the fuck
God.
that is. Death Note: New Generation, which is a mini-series in 2016, live action.
Fucking disgusting.
About, I guess, new L's and new lights. I don't know. And then a sequel movie to that series in 2016, Death Note: Light Up the New World.
Where's the high school spinoff, dude?
Right? And now we have a 2017 live-action movie called Death Note coming to Netflix next week.
Yeah.
August 25th.
Which
Yeah.
we will be watching the day it releases. So if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to join in our next one and let us know what you think, be sure to watch that when it comes out.
Yeah, August 29th.
Because, yeah, we're going to be watching that, and then we're going to be talking about it. We're probably going to rip it to shreds, because it's probably going to be garbage.
What if
What,
it's
sorry?
great?
Yeah, even if this is bad, I'm gonna revel in this. I'm just gonna eat that shit up.
Take it for what it is.
It's like watching Dragon Ball Evolution to see the disaster.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, we can't lose.
No,
Yeah, this is
there's-
gonna be
there's no
great
losers.
or
This is
it'll
gonna be
suck.
fucking
Either way, it'll be
great,
great
no
for
matter
us.
what. Yeah.
The Adventures of Light Turner and Mia.
Dude,
the
why did I have
fuck?
to change it to Mia? Like, fine, Turner because he's white and...
Light Turner? I didn't even know that was a thing. What the
straight
fuck?
up sucks. Also, like, bitch last name. Like, Timmy Turner. Yeah,
Save it for the next podcast, boys.
Yeah, holy shit.
sorry.
I just incited the anger. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Oh,
So happy.
Just giving
Yeah,
you a
you
little
shouldn't have
taste
told
for
me.
next
Yeah.
episode.
So maybe one day we'll watch the next show, or maybe it's just a manga. No, I think it's a show too, by the writer and artist of Death Note. It's called Bakuman, and it's about two boys becoming like manga artists. Apparently, it's supposed to be good.
Interesting.
Maybe one day. One day. I don't know. It's out there.
Cool.
So they're
The,
drawing?
the idea's out there.
Oh, no, this
Yeah.
drawing isn't good. I better delete.
Oh man.
Cool.
Sick. So if you enjoyed this, thank you for listening. If you're a new listener, thank you for checking us out. If you're a returning listener, thanks for sticking around. We love you.
Either way, thank you. I guess anybody.
Yes. We are all over the internet. You can contact us, and you should contact us. Let us know what you thought of Death Note. Let us know what you think of the new Death Note movie. And then also let us know what you thought about our conversation. Did we fuck up one of the greatest anime ever made?
Yeah. We're at Shonen Chumps on Twitter, on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple iTunes Podcasts, Google Play.
Yeah, you can also email us at shonenchumps@gmail.com.
We want to talk to you. Talk to us. We're so lonely. Will you be our friend?
Next time.
Next time on
Dragon
Shonen
Ball Z.
Oh, yeah.
To be continued.
All right. Bye.
See ya, Space Cowboy.
Sakajo.